Philadelphia Comic-Con, Wizard World, Philadelphia. We're really excited. We unfortunately didn't really get to spend as much time as we did last year. We didn't come Friday. We just came Saturday and
Sunday.
But we did get to go to a number of really cool panels. So we're going to kind of go through and talk about each of those. But I guess let's start off with what's kind of since we're not virgins anymore. What's the thing that stood out to you this year? What surprised you? Something like that.
Sure. This year I think the cosplay really stood out for me. I think Doctor Who has hit a much higher point than last year, but there are so many Doctors, there's so many Daleks, there's so many TARDISes. It was just awesome seeing that. The fandom is great in this place. Philly it is a smaller con, but it can be overwhelming at points, but seeing everyone here just dressed up, having a good time, that's something that's what I appreciate the most about cons. Yes. And I think that there are just some great costumes and just great things get to be seen. And then, we'll talk more about the panels, but I really did enjoy the panels again.
Yeah, for me, one thing I was disappointed is I didn't get to see Rob and Matt do sci-fi speed.
Yeah, we
tried to sign. You guys tried to sign up.
If anyone didn't see our last year episodes, awesome. My friend and we did sci-fi speed dating, which was a blast. And
yeah, I think for me, I'll also echo the sense of community. I mean, a lot of the panels, and I guess as a whole, I'll just say this: the panels for me were a lot more in depth. I felt the answers and questions were both a lot better than I felt last year's were. A lot of insight into shows that we love, which is awesome, and kind of character motivations behind actors, which I thought was awesome. And just, John Barrowman's panel we saw today, and just his love for what he does is really cool. And again,
Agreed.
We'll talk about that more.
Agreed.
But I think overall for me, the stuff that, the show floor is the show floor. But that stuff and the sense of community and stuff is really awesome. And just seeing
Agreed.
people that, come from all over. This one dude behind us was from New Hampshire, so I mean to travel to Philly for this con is kind of crazy. For me, so the first panel that we saw yesterday was
The Walking Dead
panel with Norman Reedus, Michael Rooker, and
Shane
John Barenthal.
Yeah.
And they unfortunately didn't get to all be there at the same time. They kind of crossed over because they were doing signings as well. But a show that we love. So what did you think of that panel?
That panel was great, and I'm happy we got to see it. Michael Rooker is nuts, crazy. And if you guys, if anyone watching this has a chance to see him live, just talk. It's great. He paces the floor and just screams, but he's entertaining. Then, John, what's his last name?
Barenthal.
Yeah, he I think answered questions really in depth and really took the time to answer them. Yeah, he had some moments like that, but I really enjoyed it. Then, of course, all the fangirls, when Norman Reedus was up there, they asked the worst questions, like, can you hold me like little kick-ass? And, just things like that. Little ass kicker. And so, that just – but all of them seemed – the thing that stood out to me this year about all the panels is they seemed to want to be here, Whereas last year with the captains, the Star Trek captains, one in particular didn't seem to want to be here at all. But it was great. It was held in a smaller room than last year for the larger panels. So unfortunately, people didn't get to come in to all of them. And I think they definitely need to look at that next year because people got turned away. Or if you were in one panel, you had to clear out to then go to the next. So I think that was kind of unfortunate. But, it was great. The Walking Dead panel, we couldn't ask anything about season 4, and people actually didn't, which is good. But, yeah, it was entertaining. There were some kids that just got up on stage in the beginning and were answering questions I thought was funny. So, yeah, I enjoyed that.
Yeah, I thought it was awesome. I mean, they didn't go. The one rule was not to talk about season 4, obviously, but the little nugget that we got was that they read the scripts and they were awesome. And obviously, the actors are going to say that, but I do hope
it seemed genuine. It did.
And John Barenthal in particular was very genuine, appreciative of being on the show, even though he's no longer on the show. He was very. He felt that his death serviced the show, which is really cool. Just to know that he saw it had a purpose and his arc completed itself.
And hearing him speak about his character, someone asked a question about acting, and it's like, well, you don't ever act as the bad guy. You act as a person who's willing to fight for their cause and do things that others might view negatively.
Think that they're bad. They think they're doing
exactly, and I thought that was really a good way to put it. And then kind of the moment where he turned into this person who accepts the world as it now is, I thought was really interesting. And he gave some good explanations of the character Shane.
Yeah, and just kind of how, it's a world without rules, and he realized that before the other
Exactly.
characters. Now the other characters are kind of...
And you see that in the show for sure.
Yeah, that was cool. Yeah, and the other two were awesome as well. I mean, Michael Rooker was crazy, and it was awesome. And Norman Reedus is Norman Reedus. I mean, he's a lovable guy. So.
Yeah. And then the next panel?
The next panel was The Firefly, which was immediately after that. Unfortunately, Nathan Fillion was supposed to be here and wasn't able to make it. They kind of made a little joke about that.
Yeah. But we got 4 members of the Serenity crew, which was cool.
Gina Torres.
Summer Glau, Adam Baldwin,
yes,
and I forget her name, but it was her birthday, and she was so great.
Julie, what was her name? Julie something.
Yeah. We'll put it behind us. Sorry, fans.
Yeah, I have not seen all of Firefly. I know, sue me. I've seen Serenity and a couple of the first episodes. You've seen the whole series, right?
I've rewatched and
so for me it didn't hit as home as like a show that I like Walking Dead. I've seen all the episodes I'm like really passionate about, but it was awesome just to see them together because they also it was a show that was kind of a cult show that was canceled, and now it's
didn't even get a whole first season.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's like it's critically acclaimed, like, not critically acclaimed, but like
well,
it's
it
a big
is.
following of people that that enjoy it and come to these cons to see. I mean, the panel was packed. People didn't
it was
get
packed.
In,
People
so,
didn't get in. Yeah.
I mean, that speaks a lot to it. And I thought they were all really just cool people.
They were. They were so, and they were. It was cool because they did answer questions differently, so at points, and have different opinions.
I like the question of what's your favorite room on the ship.
Yeah, I agree. I agree.
Because they all gave different answers and they explained them.
And they had some good anecdotes about like apparently the set where they filmed had a lot of like feral cats to keep the rodents down, but apparently they peed all over the couches and the set smelled like cat urine, which is really unfortunate. And you'd think they would do something about it, but yeah, I mean that was cool just to see them up on stage, just talking about it.
A lot speak about Joss and like how he is as a director and a leader, and I thought that was poignant just because he's such a big name now in entertainment with his Marvel connections. It was just cool to kind of see them trust in him as much as they did, and just kind of feel like you have someone that's responsible enough to carry the property of Marvel.
Yeah.
So
agreed.
As if we didn't already know that.
Yeah. I agree completely.
Yeah. And then the other panel that we got to see, we did get to see one about Philly things in Geek, which was kind of smaller. But there's some cool things that we found that they will be checking out in future episodes. But the panel we saw today was John Barrowman from our favorite show, Doctor Who,
and Torchwood and Arrow and
other shows, and he was a character, to say the least. But
so the way he is on television, if you've seen him cover for G4, the San Diego Comic-Con last year, he is 100% that way in real life, and it was awesome because he just was so interactive with the fans. There was a VIP area roped off where you have to buy pretty expensive tickets to get in. It wasn't filled, and he's like, "Well, why are there empty seats?" And people just kind of looked around. He's like, "Well, open the door, let people in." And he's like, the guy, either a volunteer or staff didn't do it. He's like, seriously, open the door or I'm going to do it. And the guy didn't do anything. So he just walks off the panel, goes to the back, opens the door, and lets more fans in.
Everyone scream.
Yeah.
John Barrowman just opened the door for them.
Yeah, so that was really cool. And he just, he gave some well thought out answers too about just different, it was good. It was funny, and he was beyond entertaining. And I liked how he just really focused on living in the moment. He's like, I'm flying back to LA tomorrow. Not sure what I'm going to be doing. He chooses. Well, he says he chooses things for the love of doing it, and not necessarily the paycheck. And he did that once and regretted the decision. But
yeah. And kind of talking about before is he. He is he loves what he does, which is awesome. And he's, as many people know, a gay icon in entertainment. And he does tons of things. He does theater and singing and all that stuff. But he's just very proud of the fact that he can be that for people. And there was a lot of people there that I feel that is a good role model because
well, they said that too.
I think just having a role model like that is really refreshing because now a lot of our role models are unfortunately not the best role models in our entertainment. So I think that was pretty good pretty empowering to hear just the fact that he can kind of be that for people. And kind of his journey through. And
he kind of poked fun at some things, like the kiss, on Torchwood season 2. There's a kiss between Jane Marsters, and he didn't take it seriously enough, but he did speak truthfully about things. So yeah.
And cool stories, and he's the guy that I think probably has a ton of fun.
He stayed later, which I think is cool. Skipped his lunch break so he could do more time with the people. Apologized for being 2 minutes late when other people were
Yeah.
multiple minutes late. So.
Yeah. So overall, really, really cool stuff. I'm excited to go buy some more stuff.
Yeah, it's, for people who don't know, Sunday on the cons is when they have their specials because people don't feel like bringing crap home with them. So today is, we decided to film, and then we're going to go buy all of our different things.
I guess quick thanks. Do you have a quick thanks from the weekend?
I think being in Philadelphia, it's not something I do too often, but I got to eat at a bunch of different restaurants that were really fun and really cool. So, I'm just going to thank different places just around Philly. Just go try different restaurants. I think it's great. You really get a sense of the community that you're in. Each has its own little take on stuff. So, that was one of the things that I really enjoyed doing this weekend.
Yeah, I again saw some really cool art that, I baked this last year, but I think there's some really creative stuff out there. And if you're not looking at art or comic book art, I think you should, because it's pretty cool. Like, we saw one today that was really funny with Jon Snow making a snowy, and kind of like a cartoon, like Sunday cartoon style. So it was really cool.
And Jeff Kanata from the Totally Rad Show says, just loving things, and that's what you see at cons, and I think that's the best part of it. So
for sure. So we're gonna be here next week. Well, not here, but we're gonna be back next week with an episode. We're gonna be doing another zombie run at a different place. So we're really excited.
Which
about
the
that.
food that I ate this weekend is probably not the best to train for that, but
like my cheesesteak stuff.
Cheesecake
stuff.
Oh, that was ridiculous.
So thanks for watching this episode, as always, and we'll see you next time.